I'm Jacqueline Creswell, Visual Arts Advisor and Curator at Salisbury Cathedral. And this evening we're sitting in the North Porch of Salisbury Cathedral, and I'm immersed in this world of wonderful light. Salisbury Cathedral commissioned Squidsoup to create two light installations for us, this one called Enlightenment and another one called The Power of Words, to celebrate our special Magna Carta year this year. And sitting next to me is one of the creators of this installation, Anthony Rowe, who's a partner of a creative agency called Squidsoup.
Thanks. Well, yeah, I mean, what we're trying to do here is, you can look at it in a lot of different ways. In one way, it's like an exploded screen. It's like sticking your head inside a screen where each of these lights is like a pixel.
Yes, I see that.
On the TV. But also it's not a screen, because unlike a pixel where you're not aware of each one, here you are aware of each one, and each one is emanating light. And so when you move within it, it is affecting you and it's affecting everything you see. And so you are literally immersed in the light that it emits. Enlightenment consists of about 5,500 individually addressable points of LED light. And they are controlled from a single computer, a bit like a screen would be controlled. But we've made it interactive and three-dimensional. So we are creating three-dimensional form, which are then placing in physical space. And so these wafts and waves and things that you get through,
I do love that.
Going through the space, is actually a virtual world. So we're placing a virtual world in the physical. In terms of the connection with the Magna Carta, certainly the other piece, the projection piece, which is much more literal, because you have quotes from the clauses displayed on the wall. But this one, I think, has got a lot of parallels in terms of the number of lights, and the fact that you also, the ripples, the fact that they're sort of individuals, but they're all interconnected. I like that, sort of all beacons of light, sort of enlightenment. Yeah. Magna Carta, sort of a sort of sense of enlightenment. Yeah, and the fact that everything is interconnected, and there are power structures here. Everything is controlled, and the history of the Magna Carta is rife with how it developed from the original Magna Carta to the Bill of Rights and so on that we have today is a tumultuous story, and I think we've tried to represent some of that here. The contrast between the sort of pretty clean, minimal lines and the quite
the
rich colour,
yes.
with the beautiful, the Gothic arches and the fantastic wooden doors and the filigree work, and it's just marvellous, the whole thing.
Yes, it is wonderful, and
it was quite
mysterious in a way.
It was quite a challenge, I must say.
Good.
We were rather daunted at the prospect to begin with.
It's quite interesting, because it's sort of talking once again about the principles of Magna Carta and people fighting for their freedom. But it's quite interesting that your actions have consequences. I'm touching this, and the consequence of me touching this is that it changes colour, and so let people sort of reflect on that idea of there are consequences to things that they do. Which is quite interesting.
And your presence, we are all individuals in this world together, and the piece recognises that. And
like
technically, that's done with a scanner that's tracking your movement through the space, so the computer knows where you are and can then affect the lights that are around you specifically. That sort of makes it a much more personal experience. The interaction is
I think it's really important to have that personal experience. I mean, that's what it's about, this sort of personal engagement. Everybody's going to take something out of it for themselves, which is rather lovely.
There's as always, there's a broad spectrum of responses, but I think the general response is one of not interacting too much, actually, but standing there and just soaking up the atmosphere and just being transported by it.
I have noticed when we've let some children in, and adults alike, they are mesmerised. They kind of just stand there and they look around them, and at first they're almost rather timid in their involvement with the light, and then there's a sense of wonder as they realise that they've touched something and it's changed colour. And then, of course, it's the next step to touch something else and see the reaction. Total wonderment. You should have seen their faces. It was a delight. Total delight.